that we would need. So yeah, start
Oh,
recording. Lily sent you the questions that I was going to ask a bit beforehand. Perfect.
yes,
So,
yes, I had a look. Perfect.
oh, lovely. So it's not too long. It's just a few
No,
questions, just to get some feedback from you, and yeah, just to see how you found the program. So the first one was so what motivated you to take part in the work readiness program? Like, so why did you just yeah, why did you want to just jump in and take part and offer your services and your time?
oh, Neely, you know what? I felt that there is such an opportunity for graduates and students and youngsters to get exposure to what the real life is out there and what is really going on in organizations. And I think it's so important to prepare ourselves for the next phase. Because
Mm,
when you're in a student phase, it's very different from being in a work phase, if I can call it that. Often it's a combined thing, but I think it's so important. And specifically around the topic, of navigating power, I just felt like if we go into organizations as graduates and we're so chuffed about what we studied and we sort of overcompensate for the lack of experience, and then sometimes we come across in a way that's actually detrimental.
mm,
So it also just to create some awareness around what is going on for you, as the kind of inner and
mm,
the
mm,
people that are already in the workplace.
yeah.
That's why I really wanted to just be involved.
Yeah, yeah, no, thank you so much. Like honestly, your talk was one of my personal favorites, if I'm being honest. I really, really loved your talk. And so just move on then to the second question is, so why would you say navigating power is an important skill, for graduates, to learn when they're entering the working environment?
Absolutely. So you know what? There's a saying that, and we know this. As you sort of climb your career ladder, it becomes more and more important to be aware of your emotional drivers and the people drivers, and the EQ IQ ratio changes completely.
Mm,
When you start off and when you think you think you know stuff, so you think you've got like 80% I know what I'm doing and 20% is it's the people stuff. But
mm,
the longer you work, you've got that swap where it's 80% of it is being aware of all these nuances.
mm,
And specifically around power, that is so important because all of the power things can pull you so quickly in your ego. And then you're sabotaging yourself without realizing it.
mm, mm, wow, sure, that's profound, sure. Um, so yeah, well, so then obviously, sorry, just to, I know this is not part of this, but then like, what would you say were some of the key takeaways then that you wanted to take across, or that you wanted students to really take from your talk?
So, really, I think, oh, we first of all, I think all people, need to be aware of the ego. They need to be aware that this is how we wired, that we've got this protection mechanism for whatever
Mm,
reason, and so to acknowledge it. So if you can have that awareness, you can also step out of it. And then when you step out of it, I almost want to say you come in kindly. And I really wanted you guys just to see that it's actually much easier just to come in with empathy, and just come in with who is this person that I'm talking to, really,
mm,
and being able to be in that space where you allow yourself to be vulnerable, because that will help others to also be vulnerable, that you can be real. And I
mm,
was hoping that would sort of be the most important part of the
mm,
session.
mm. I particularly enjoyed, obviously you made reference to Brene Brown. I am such a huge fan. Honestly, her TED talk on like the call to courage and like all of the other things, and like I've seen her on Oprah Super Soul Sunday, and just
Yes,
honestly
yes,
everything she speaks about is just so, it's actually so hard to do, because as she talks about it, like it takes bravery, it takes courage to be
exactly.
vulnerable and to show up and to really put yourself out there. But when you put it in terms of like, I hadn't actually brought that link between vulnerability and an actual power. So for me, that was a huge light bulb moment, that actually once you become vulnerable and you put yourself out there, you're actually stepping into your power. And I found that so profound. So I saw, like,
Exactly.
yeah, honestly, thank
Exactly.
you so much for that.
This is it. So, Flip, I'm so glad you're saying that, because I'm running a huge process for a client of mine where one of the drivers was around self-empowerment. Okay, because what came out was that there was a huge blame culture, and especially in terms of the middle managers blaming the senior managers and the supervisors blaming the middle managers. So this was this knock-on effect. Okay, and that company signature.
Yeah.
So we said, okay, how are we going to get people to take ownership for their stuff? And the reality is, it takes bravery. It takes for us to be able to say, okay, it means I've got to be self-empowered and be able to say, flip, I don't know what I'm talking about. So we've got this whole model that we talk through specifically around that in organizations to help them see that it's okay. And you know, it's beautiful. I sit in the exco meetings, and the CEO will say, guys, you've got to help me now. I'm not sure what we need to do here. And it is fantastic to then see how everybody says, okay, but what about this? And what about that? So it's really beautiful. It's really, really beautiful.
Wow, lovely. Honestly, that was such a huge light bulb moment. I was like, wow. So yeah, then move on to the next question then. Is to say, so what value do you think future participants can gain from taking part in a program such as started?
So, just so I think there's a lot. Right? I think what happens is it opens the mind. So you see that there's so much out there, and it's a different way of going into the market, and not just thinking, oh, I know stuff now I'm ready, whatever, but actually just to say, hey, there's so much out there. And I think it is fantastic because the exposure then builds the confidence, the new knowledge builds the confidence. So when you step in there, it's healthy. It's a healthy confidence. And you don't have to feel uncertain or insecure. You can actually say, hey, I've learned some stuff and I'm curious. So I think that mindset of curiosity and interest.
Wow, no, great. Thank you so much. Because definitely, so I'm a finalist, so I'm going into the working environment next year. So I'm going to be going to Toyota. So they've been like sponsoring my studies and stuff at UCT. So it's like one of those going into the graduate program. And for me, obviously doing this whole program and stuff, like personally, like I was just like, I'm so scared. I want to get some advice from as many people as I can. So I really enjoyed like your talk and how you just talking about like once you actually get exposed to the industry before you get in there, or get exposed to people who have a vast knowledge about, you know, the corporate space and everything before you get in, you become more like equipped, and you kind of your nerves, like personally my nerves have just kind of decreased, like, okay, whew, it's actually not too bad, like don't worry about it, like, you know, it kind of brings a bit more
You
certainty.
don't have to know everything. Yeah, you don't.
Yeah.
Nobody knows everything.
Yeah.
So it's fine. We all know very little, all of us. So it's cool.
And that question that I asked about the imposter syndrome, that's something that I really obviously have been struggling with a lot, and like, I was just like, sure, is it just me, or is this like a universal thing, you know?
It is. It absolutely is. When I would have conversations with CEOs, you know, and they would say to me, you know, I wonder why these guys trust me to make this decision, because I'm really hoping it's working. I'm going on my gut. And this is the big point. We're all just trying. Eh?
Yeah.
We all just... So if people get real, we're all just learning still. And it's beautiful. It's wonderful. So why not?
And I think once you just take down that guard of saying, you know, I feel like I need to know everything and I need to be always right, and just saying I can actually learn from everyone, like even at the lowest of low, you know, and having that kind of shifting and perspective, I think it really makes a whole lot of difference. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, take the pressure off.
Literally.
Yeah.
All right. So then, so then the next question is, so what lessons do you wish you had learned before you entered the working environment?
Oh, flip it. You know, when I was thinking about this, I had such a blank, because there are so many.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm going to tell you what it is, because I think I'm only learning it now. That thing about what people say, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. Wandile is actually freaking true, hey?
Yes.
It's about how you're showing up every moment and whether you are loving what you're doing or not, and whether you can be present or not. And but we are so, and I know I can see this. I mean, all of you guys are so driven, and you're so in that achievement mode. And I'm young, and I've got to tick, you know. And you miss out on the experience. You end up not enjoying it. So I don't know if I would have listened. I don't know if I would have believed my older self, but I would have said, yeah, just smell the freaking roses.
Yeah.
Just pause it. Just sit in it for a bit. You don't have to rush it. Okay, it's okay. And then things happen easier. The flow happens then. So it took me a long time to actually believe it.
Yeah, I think, and that actually really resonates with me personally, because I think obviously when we are in this space, especially like, let's say like you about to enter the working environment, you've done quite well for yourself in university, and you're always kind of looking forward and saying, okay, what's the next thing? How am I going to be in the future? Like, what is the next big thing? And we kind of forget to be like, how did I get here? You know, I think you've frozen. No, Mariheca. What's going on? Is the chat a bit confused? It seemed to be having some difficulties.
Wow. Sorry about that.
No problem. No problem at all. Yeah, sorry. I remember, what were we speaking about again?
We were on the life lessons thing.
Oh yes. And I was just saying, and I was just saying that, oh yeah, for me, like I guess we always find ourselves, obviously when we're young, it's like, okay, what's the next best thing? What's the next goal? What's the next thing I can achieve? And we don't really sit in that moment and like, actually look at how far I've come and look where I am right now, and you know, how can I, you know, appreciate it. Gratitude has been one big thing that I've the COVID-19 and everything has just been like, sit down and appreciate what you have and how good you have it, you know.
Well done.
Yeah,
well done.
yeah. And then the last official question that we have is, so how would you describe your experience with the work readiness program in 3 words?
It was difficult to even think about it, but I think these are my words, and it's not going to be a sentence.
No problem.
Okay, so incredibly, hopeful. Gave me a lot of hope. Very hopeful. Very much fun. Very exciting. And exactly what you just said, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to be part of an experience like this. I think it's so special. It is such a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And we really enjoyed, having you there. And I think, yeah, like obviously, so the whole idea came from us and like the council. So I don't know if you know anything about, if the chambers told you. So basically, so I'm the chairperson of the UCT Commerce Students Council. So like we represent like commerce students and like all, like I think we have like 7,000 students in the commerce faculty. So our whole aim is just to be like, okay, how can we, one, obviously there's 2 parts of it. It's how can we assist students within the academic space, like in terms of, queer, like issues they have with lecturers and things like that. But then it's also a thing of how can we broaden the students' minds and how can we expose them to certain things so that they can basically, grow. And our motto was to foster or to help develop the well-rounded commerce students, a commerce student that really is not just about academics, but, pours into themselves. So yeah, no, thank you so much. I don't know if you have any final other words, maybe like any other words of encouragement to future participants or anything, like final words before we close.
Okay. I think as final words, I think if you can show up with a curious mind open-mindedness, and just sort of, because what we tend to do is we talk to people that think like us, we look for the like-mindedness, but to go and with an open mind and just hear different views, because there are so many different views, and it's not right or wrong, it's just what it is. And so curiosity, I think, is key for us to be.
Wow, no, thank you so much, Dr. Otto. I really appreciate it. I won't take
No,
more of your time. I know you're quite a busy lady, so I'll let you go. Thank you so much, though. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you. We'll obviously still let you know about the prize giving day. We're still gonna have like a whole prize giving like thing with when like the winners are announced. So definitely will be invited, and yeah, hopefully to see you there.
Yes, absolutely. And share this podcast. I'll share it on the our social media stuff. Okay.
Definitely,
Lovely.
definitely. All right, no, thank you
Okay.
so much. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Thanks, Wandile, and you too. Good luck with everything and the exams and everything that's coming.
Thank you so much. Cheers.
Okay.